Hi guys. So I just had coffee with a friend, and he unintentionally reminded me of all the things that I wanted to say about dating when you are in your 30s and you live in New Zealand. I haven't had experience in any other country, so I can't speak about those countries, but I can speak about New Zealand. And for some reason, I decided to do this in my car in the parking lot at the supermarket while it's fresh in my mind. So here I am. So what I started off was this was a friend who we went on a couple of dates and he ghosted me, but then he got back to me and apologized. Now, I have to say that is why I forgave him. I don't want him back. We are just friends, but I could see that him admitting to being in the wrong and saying what he deserves, it really helped get over the fact that that's the gazillionth time I've been ghosted in my life. So this brings me to the point of my current dating profile. For those who don't know, I am 37 years old. I was married when I was 20. I got separated when I was 26 and divorced when I was 28. My ex-husband, he was an emotionally broken person who didn't realize he was emotionally broken. Basically, he was a narcissist without realizing he was a narcissist. He wasn't a kind of a person that did things on purpose, but it didn't stop the pain and the trauma nonetheless. He did admit wrongdoing after the fact, but not all of it. And he never asked for forgiveness, which I give him kudos for, because some of the stuff he did. Anywho, so it's been 11 years of being officially single, but sort of dating around. I have in that time been in one relationship that lasted a year. The rest have been short term, though a year to me is short term. I'm talking about 3 or 4 months with the other ones. So this is what I've come into the conclusion of. And just a disclaimer for those really sensitive guys out there, those, like the really sensitive ones, the hashtag not all men. Well, can you just know that I don't mean hashtag all men. I don't mean the whole male species. I'm not angry at the whole male species. I'm frustrated at my situation. I'm frustrated with some of my friends' situations, and some of the women that I've talked to online in support groups in different arenas have said all a very similar thing. There's books on this stuff about men written by men. So before you get defensive, chill the fuck out. It's not about you. Well, it actually is. But anyway, my point is, oh yeah, another disclaimer, I'm not saying women are perfect either. God, no. I mean, if I could date a woman, I would, but at the same time, like, drama. So what I ended up doing on my dating profile is I used to say all these amazing things. I'm bubbly, I think deeply, I'm kind, I'm friendly, I'm talkative, I'm outspoken, said all those things. I like coffee, I like people, I like knitting, I like hardcore music, and I also like acoustic music and da-da-da-da-da. And I read Kafka, and I also read Philippa Gregory, so all that stuff. And now it says like this tiny little blurb at the top, and then it goes into, do men only want down to fuck or friends with benefits on dating websites. If that is the case, go to Tinder. That's what Tinder is for. Dating websites is actually looking for a love to get into a relationship, short-term, long-term, polyamorous, whatever, but not necessarily just hookups. If you're just looking for a hookup, please use Tinder. That is what it's for. Okay, second point I put on there was, what was it? Why are the majority of the men in their 30s and 40s on the dating sites? And I've been to multiple, quite a few, but tried 7 different ones, thinking that each one's going to be different. Bumble and OkCupid and it's endless. Even the Christian ones. Why do the men always say, well, in their 30s and 40s, not always, but a lot, a majority of them are saying they don't know if they want kids? Fuck, guys! Seriously, if you're in your 30s and your 40s, you don't know if you want kids. Either you're extremely unaware of what you need and like in your life, or you're just trying to not outright say that you're afraid of commitment and responsibility, which I actually think is probably the latter one. Second thing I made a point about was, why is it that 80% of guys on these websites also seem to be looking for open, quote unquote, open to non-monogamy? Now, in my opinion, that just means that the majority of men don't want commitment. Polyamory is a thing. I am polyamorous. I don't judge people's sexual orientation or ways. That's their business. But I'm gotta tell you, 80% of guys are not polyamorous. Polyamory isn't that common. You just want an excuse to fuck around. You don't want commitment. Now, I've got to tell you, the reason why this pisses women off, I mean, apart from the fact that we all want love and to be loved, I mean, that's a given, right? A lot of us are okay with being single. Don't get me wrong. I'm okay with being I'm pretty cool with myself. My main thing is that, well, I'm I have to admit, I actually do better in relationships, but that's the main thing for me. The big stress, the really big stress, is that I'm 37 and I haven't had children yet. Now, these guys are going around going, do, life is so good. I did my OE. I spent 15 years living in Japan. I spent 20 years living in London, and now I'm ready to come and find my partner for life. Except I want to be open to seeing other people, and I don't want to be tied down. What the fuck? Our ovaries need to know whether or not you want kids for real. Now, how is it that so many men don't want kids, or say they don't know if they want kids? How is it that all these guys on these websites are pussing out of this stuff? And you know what? I went on a date with one guy, and it was the only guy that I found on this website in the Auckland area that said that he was wanting a long-term relationship. Now, that's pretty cool. I was like, sweet. Except when we went to meet up, it was on his terms. He had just finished work. I was pretty tired. I was fatigued. I was in bed. But I was like, you know what? I haven't been asked out for a while, so I'll meet him. So he said to meet at up at the bus stop, so that we can walk up to the village and go and get a drink. So I walked up to the bus stop, and he saw me and then kept walking. So I started walking with him, and he didn't say hello or anything, but he acknowledged me. He just sort of looked at me. And I started talking. I was like, hey, how's it going? Your name is Max, blah, 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 blah. I'm Charlie, yada, yada, yada. And he just sort of, I don't know. Anyway, that should have been red flag number 1. I just took it as like he was on a roll or something. Honestly, I'm apparently too nice. Anyway. Red flag number 2. I wanted coffee, he wanted beer. I don't really like drinking that much, especially when I'm fatigued, and I can have coffee at night time and go to sleep if I'm really fatigued. So I said, why don't we go to a cafe where they sell beer and coffee? No, he wouldn't have it. No, we had to go to the local burger joint that had filter coffee only, which I don't like, generally speaking. I don't want to pay for that shit. I like filter coffee. I'll have at home. I'm not paying for it. I'm sorry. It's not America. It's not like it's $1 or $2. Like here, it's like $4 or $5, right? It's like a normal, is the cost of an espresso. So no. Anyway, so that's red flag number 2. We ended up just staying there. I'm sitting there drinking water and he's drinking a beer. Literally down the road, like maybe 4 or 5 shops up, there is a cafe which is open till 11 p.m, which sells beer and coffee and nibbles and all sorts. So, what an ass. Then it gets worse. And then he goes on about like X, Y, and Z, how he's been like overseas and this and that and the other thing. I actually don't remember most of the conversation. Most of it was him talking, and every time I had a piece of information, he talked through it. You know those people? They don't over talk you. They don't raise their voice. They sort of just talk through like they like you don't exist. He was like that. So that was really thrilling. Wonder why you're single, bro. And then he brought up feminism in New Zealand. And he brought up that we don't need feminism in New Zealand. Now, I'm not like super left. I'm pretty left, but I'm not like crazy, radical, extremist or anything. But I know there are facts to say that we don't have full-on equality yet. There are still fights going on for feminism in New Zealand. I gave him some facts. He talked through them again. I gave him some more. I started raising my voice. He said, I don't want to get you mad. I used some personal anecdotes, nothing that was super intimate or deep or anything, so it wouldn't hurt me. But he, like, you know, going to the supermarket and having your chest stared at all the time because you're wearing the wrong shirt, like this. Or if you're wearing shirt, like, you know, track pants and stuff, people giving you a look like you're dirty and disgusting. But every time I've been with my brothers and stuff, they don't have that issue. So I was trying to give those kind of examples, and he was like, if you're going to get so upset about it, this is over. Nah. Not all men are like that. Not all men. Okay. See ya. So he walked away. He ended up ended the date like that. That is one of the better dates that I've had. Like, I had a guy piss on my house after a date. I had one guy tell me he was a cat. No, he actually said 3 cats in a human suit. I've had so many guys. I've had a guy think that he could use me like a hooker. Like, actually, like, you know, no, like a brothel, sorry. So I was pet sitting and he wanted to use the house like for sleeping with a girl that he's with, and I'm like, you've been on a few dates with me and you're what? Like, what? And you know, the great one, the ghosting. You know, one guy ghosted me the day that I found out that my father has terminal cancer. What a great guy! Well, everyone keeps saying I dodged a bullet. I'm sick of dodging bullets. Maybe there is just something wrong with this generation's of males. Maybe. And I know I'm going to get 100 people saying maybe it's you. But you know what? I'm not perfect, but 100% of guys, 100% of them who aren't interested in me have said that it's not me, it's them, because I am so kind and I'm way too nice and I'm way too generous and I'd make the perfect wife, yada 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 yada. 100%. I've had like heaps of them just want to be friends with me. Yes, they are friends with me. I am a pushover sometimes, and some of them like start ghosting me as friends too, and I'm just like, oh, whatever, man. Like, I don't need that kind of drama in my life. Shit. But I do have a lot of guy friends, and I am very self-aware, and I'm one of those people that as soon as I see a flaw, I want to fix it in myself. I really am. I am not so flawed that I can't find love. Surely it's not 100% me. Surely it is mainly these guys, because there are, as I said at the beginning, there are books on it. Books and books and books about why men are emotionally stunted, basically. So, men pissing on trees, men pissing on your house, men with really chronically bad halitosis, men that ghost you, men that think that you're a brothel, men that think they're a cat, men that think they can be your social worker. Yes, I've had that one. Men who are still in love with their ex. Quite a few of those, actually. Men who just don't want to commit even though they say they did at the beginning. Isn't that funny? Men who break up with you because they get depressed and they don't want the help that you have to offer. And I have tried so many types of men. And before anyone says, have your children by yourself, I've got chronic fatigue syndrome. I need a partner to help raise them. So not an option for me, and not an option for a lot of women, and especially in the cost of living in New Zealand, it's not an option for a lot of people. So no, just no. Anyway, that's the end of my rant. It's been a really long one, 17 minutes and 40 seconds, 41 seconds, 42 seconds. I'm going to stop now. Thanks for listening to my rant. Love you. See ya. Mwah.